Okay.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Um, I just wanted to say thanks to Shady Grady for deciding to join me today. We were kind of getting carried away in the conversation right now. When I looked over and I saw, oops, it's been at zeros. I wonder how long it's been at zeros. But thank you guys for joining us. Let me get a little bit of the housekeeping out of the way before we get going, because once I get into these conversations, I seldom ever look back into the chat. Not, I'm, I've got to be the best. I mean, the worst host when it comes to paying attention to the chat, because if I do that, I get distracted and I get sidetracked, and then I'll listen to what the guest is saying, and I'm not really paying attention to what's going on in the chat. So, but
I
anyways, I
didn't
want to
even
say
have it
thank you
on.
to.
I didn't even have it on the aisle. I didn't even notice there was anyone over there.
Oh yeah. There's people. There was already people in the waiting for us to get going. But George RB3, thank you for coming in. Fernando, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Fishion.
Jesse, thanks for being here. Misa, thanks for dropping in. I know she's at work. She's lurking and trying to catch a little bit. Brian, thanks for being here. Bam Fish, gracias por estar aquí, Bam. Linda, thank you for joining us. Tommy for Silver Creeks is here also. Thank you for joining us today. And I think I've kind of caught up right now for the people that are. All right. Oh, they must have changed something on this. Okay. I noticed it on the comments. They've kind of. Oh, Ron, thanks for coming in. Like you need to moderate. Yeah, the whole wrench thing. This is something that I took away from a live stream that on Funk's channel where he had Father Fish on, and I know he asked him. He says, why do you have why do you give everybody a wrench? Is what Funk had asked, and I really liked what Father Fish had to say about that. And then I know I personally have really liked it because when I'm a moderator, not that I'm going to be dropping links and stuff like that, it's really for selfish purposes. I like it because it gives me access to view new people that come into the live stream. I can click on their name and it'll take me to their channel. And since I'm constantly on the lookout for new channels, new content, that's the real reason why I like having I'm trying to do two things at once because I'm trying to add some moderators. I'm trying to go to my channel. One of the real reasons why I really like having a wrench is because it allows me to, when I see a name that I don't recognize, I can click on it, go to their channel, and quickly see what it is they're about. And if it's fish related stuff, I'll give it a look. And if I
Did you
look what
see
they're, if
Hagen
I
Hill is on there?
yeah,
Yeah.
Jake and Kate.
And outside in, or you already got him?
Yeah, Kyle, thanks for dropping in. Sal, thanks for joining us. Stephen P, thanks for being here. Craig, man, everybody's starting to come in. Dr. Anthony, Audra, Craig, Brandon, Bud's Files, Aquamictlan. That's one of the other guys from the city of Mexico. Let me see. I gotta. The reason I was trying to log into mine because I'm seeing some people that don't have
Fathom's here.
wrenches. They
Alex
don't
is
have.
here.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't matter. Hey, Alex.
Bubbles is even laughing at him. Shady Grady, what's that plant sticking up out of that aquarium behind you? That's a monstera plant. I started
Yeah,
with one. I started with one little sprig, and now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them sticking out. 6 sticking out. They
let's
like
see.
stick. They like growing in there. I put
Oh
like
no.
a little printed 3D printed little cage inside of there for it to grow. And what I do is I turn it around 180 once a week, and so it has to keep aiming into the room, and it keeps growing more leaves every more stems and leaves. Everyone said
Yeah.
that plant wouldn't grow in there, but it grows really good.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is can it actually have the
And the
roots
other
through
one
the
that
water? But
grows really good in that plant that yeah, no, you can't see it very good, but there's if the light was better, I know that the other guys have seen it before, like Stephen P and stuff. There's that one that's with the mesh and stuff. I can't remember. Madagascar lace is growing in there
yeah.
real. The rainbow fish really like those plants because they like having the babies in there.
All
And
right.
you
I'm
know,
just
there's no you know that's right in the window, and there's no algae in that tank. You know, I don't know
yeah. You
why.
got
I
a
think
wrench, Brandon.
that monstera sucks it all up.
Yeah, and that's why when I started discovering that you could put plants that are, the roots are in the water and helping with my aquariums,
It makes a
especially
big difference. You know, a big difference.
because I want to do what Lucas Bretz has been able to do and go without any other than biological filtration. Be able to do that.
I know that it helps dramatically with uh, the blackbeard algae. But you know, like you can't see it, but this, you know, I got a tank over here that I got just a little bit of blackbeard algae around the outlet of the pump, but the rest of the tank is pretty good. You know, that's a 60-gallon over here, custom 60, but it's a 60-gallon. Um, I can move the camera lens too and show you around too. But
Yeah, we'll get
I think everyone's seen all this stuff anyway.
no, no. Well, it does.
A
I like
lot of
seeing
them
it.
anyway.
Even if I've seen it once, I like to see it again. Let me. I'm trying to see which one is going to be easier for me to do this. Let's see. Careful with your ears because this might. I don't know. There we go. All right. So I muted that.
What was it, like making noise?
No, no, no. It's because I opened up my own
Microphone?
live on the computer because I'm using the phone because I'm trying to add wrenches for people that I see that don't have a wrench.
Oh,
Trying to give them a wrench. Again, the reason behind it is because that way it gives you as a moderator access if you see a channel that that you're curious about, you can click on their name and it'll give you the option to go see their channel. Because what I found out over time is I can look at your name, you have it on here, and try to find you that way on YouTube, and it doesn't always match up. And then you're kind of spinning your wheels. And as a moderator, it also makes it easier to if you want to add somebody's link, you click on their name, go to their channel, get the actual address, and then copy that and paste it, and then it makes it real easy to go to post links to check out people's channel. But I just kind of do it for a commodity. I mean, for making it simple.
yep.
Uh,
Let me say one thing to Peplin because I know he's on here.
all right,
Peplin, your fish came. They got delivered, and they were already being acclimated now as we speak. So I didn't have a chance to text you or anything because it happened right as we were getting online here. So I figured I'd say something while we were here.
yeah,
They
all
dropped them
right.
off at the house.
Well, let's get to the real reason why we're here, and that's to get to know Shady Grady.
Oh.
Well, like I said at the beginning, I want to thank you for accepting the invitation. I remember coming across your you as a comment as a participant in the chats, but I had never really seen you, and I didn't really start noticing you probably about until almost the beginning of this year. Were you really involved in the chats before that, or did I just not happen to be on the same streams as you?
Probably not the same streams. I was only hanging around with like Malik and Fish Easy and TM Aquatics, mostly all the Pleco guys, you know,
Okay.
because that's what I was mostly seriously interested in. Also, uh, I was with the shrimp guys for a long time, especially Grant and Shelby,
Okay.
and also Lucas, because he was different, and but that's for the most part, Dan on and off, but I wasn't so much into even the YouTube thing that much, just I had been doing this for 50 years, so I had my own way of doing it, so I really wasn't like I didn't want to be disturbed the way, of how I was doing it, kind of,
Okay.
until I realized that, you know, that there was other ways that I could do it that were could be fun to try, instead of a waste of time and effort, and because that's at the beginning, that's what I thought it was, You get stubborn in your old ways, if you haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, but
But
even the stuff you're trying out, I don't consider it a waste of time because how else are you
no,
going
I
to
don't.
learn? How else are you going to learn if something works or doesn't work if you don't try it? Then that's what I've always telling people is give it a try. You never know what's actually going to be what's going to work, what isn't. People are always constantly. Hold on, wife just got back from work. Love you too, baby.
I was having such good luck all the time, with the way I was doing it myself. I I was helping so many people locally, not online, but just in the fish clubs and stuff,
Hmm.
and even in my town and stuff, people were having issues, and I had, but at a smaller level, not like how you guys, not in gigantic tanks with gigantic things, and even at the pet stores and stuff around, I had saltwater tanks, I had regular tanks, but, you know, everything was on a different scale, but, and, so when you start doing a lot more, you start having a lot more problems, and you start having a lot more challenges, and, you know, when you start trying to breed 20 different kinds of things instead of just three, you start having to learn more things, and it
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've kind of liked about having the fish room is that trial and error, um, and because even and I've always said this, just because it's working for somebody, it's not necessarily going to mean it's going to work out for me because there's a lot of circumstances that are a lot of variables that go into trying to breed fish and keep fish in general. Circumstances are different. So, but if you're not willing to try it, you're never going to know what's going to work for you and what isn't, what you can get away with, what you can't. Obviously, there's a fine balance because obviously you don't want to abuse the fish, but
right.
that's where your experience as a fish keeper really comes into play to see if things are going south or if things are okay.
My
I wouldn't
biggest
recommend.
problem was that I ran into a problem, like a brick wall, and my brick wall was my when I moved, and the water quality where I moved to was horrible
Mm,
compared to where I used to be. And um, I I tested it. I tried to get a good handle on it, no matter how I could do it, and no matter what I did, I couldn't. No, try letting the water sit for a long time. I try letting it bubble while it sat. I took advice from everybody. Um, in the long run, I had to just basically use a lot of serious units of like rotary units with specialized canisters inside of them, filters inside of them to get rid of the not the chloramines,
the
because the
chlorine.
chloramines are so strong here and they vary all the time.
Mm.
That's the problem. They're not the same all the time. They change them constantly. So what would happen is a couple months would go by, everyone would be fine. Then they change them, and then I'd be putting in too much chemicals to offset that chloramine, and then all my fish would die, or I'd lose a couple very fussy fish, and then or the chloramine would go up, and then I wouldn't have enough, and then I'd lose the stuff. So I had to get it out of there by just using filtration. So filtration got it so it was the same all the time. Now the water's so good that I use it for drinking too. The same water that I'm using that stuff I use for drinking. You can't believe how much stuff that water takes out of there. It's unbelievable. And I can tell when they're working on the street, one street over, because the first filter just gets completely clogged with the crap all the way around the outside of the filter. It was like white one day, and the
Yeah.
next day it's completely brown. And I said I can hear them working with the jackhammers, a street over. It's just what the
Well,
water is everything. Water
well,
quality is everything.
you got to think about it because you're in the East Coast, right?
I'm in the city. That's the worst part. The
Well,
East
yeah,
Coast
but
is one thing,
what
but the
I'm
city,
getting at, that's the oldest part of the country. That's where the
right?
country started. So all the infrastructures are almost as old as the country itself. So
1890 house. The house is built in 1890. All the pipes are from then.
yeah,
It's you give a pipe a good whack and you see all stuff come off of it. On the inside, not the outside.
yeah.
And so it was tough to get going. And then once that happened, though, that then I could build the tanks. I was stuck at like about 4 tanks because I couldn't get of the ball rolling, because I couldn't get enough water. Now, and I have a storage system for the water, and because my leg is hurt, so and then I pump all that. I filter the water, put it into a sump, and then that sump has a pump on it and a hose that can reach all the tanks, and that water is pure and it's heated, and it can go to every tank, even the Caradina tanks,
Okay.
it can go to. So
So I know that in talking backstage, you kind of alluded to how many tanks you had and all that stuff. But you said you started out with four. What was the well? First of all, how long have you been in the hobby?
I started when I was 9 years old. I I was lucky enough that I grew up down the street from this place called Driftwood Aquarium. This guy had his own business in the basement of his house, and that was right across the street from our elementary school. And it was, like a dream job for any of us, probably. He had he had a saltwater section and a freshwater section, and this is during the 60s, right? The late 60s and early 70s. And he, like had new fish coming in all the time. I'd stop there on the way home from school every day for a little while. And he, you know, would offer me, I clean up a couple tanks. I could earn, fish or two or do whatever I wanted, do some nasty job. Th- I lived on a farm, right? So
Okay.
it was no nasty job to clean
Yeah,
out a
not
fish tank for me.
not until you're
I
scooping up
go
after
home and
animals.
clean out the shit out of a chicken coop or something. It was
Yep.
not any big difference. So and
Yep.
then I went home and I had things, but the tanks back then they were all metal framed with the slate bottoms, and they had used tar instead of silicone. So
Yeah.
it was like they'd have like a tar rope, and that's what they use for um, you know for flashing, to hold to keep them from leaking, instead of silicone. So it was a regular like tar rope, and that's how we made the tanks. And my first tank was a 20-gallon tank, 20-gallon high, and and it was you. I don't think you could ever kill it. It doesn't. It's just a matter of taking care of it, and the lights and stuff were horrible. It was hard to keep any kind of plants going back then. And but my parents were very proud of it. They had it right in the living room, right on top of their bar. Bars were a big thing back then.
Yeah.
Drinking was a big thing. After work, having a cocktail. And but yeah, uh, I had a
Do
very
you
nice.
remember what fish were the first ones that were in that aquarium?
Um, I think I had some kind of cichlid, uh, and I was very proud of it because it was a hard fish to find. But I don't
Oh, okay.
remember what kind of cichlid it was. And I had catfish. I always loved catfish. I had this upside down catfish. I had regular catfish. Like the Cory catfish. Um, I always wanted to have a uh, bristle nose catfish, but those were hard to come by back then. They only had the common plecos, and those got too big.
Yeah.
And
See,
for the tanks, this tank that I had anyway.
yeah,
And
no, because I was trying to, I try to go back and remember what I
oh, I had
remember too.
angelfish too. I had
Okay.
angelfish in there.
All that in a 20-gallon.
Well, it was only one small cichlid. It was like a small cichlid, and like say like one of the ones like that was like a little yellow one or something, or checkered one, like yellow checkered one. Wasn't very big, like 3 inches long. And then I had one Cory fish and one small angelfish uh and and that upside down catfish. I remember that. And we get different fish all the time. It was always overcrowded because I'd be getting fish every time it came in. Something interesting came in.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
at that was at 9, 10, 11 years old. So and I had a tank right straight through. Um, I got a 39-gallon acrylic when I was in college, and I had that tank all the way through. Um, geez, I still have it in the other room.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I think acrylic tanks are very good if you get a good one.
Mm.
Um, they and you know as long as you got to be careful. They scratch up easy.
Yes.
But I've had tanks all my life. I just different kinds of fish. I've always had a discus. I have like one discus in here, but always just one or two. I never had a whole bunch of them, and I've always had them with other fish, and they've always lived about 8 or 9 years. Every one of them I've had, you having them that way. If you have a bunch of them, they've always I buy like a bunch of small ones and try to be have them like that, and they always die. And this one is a blue one, like that all blue, and that one's a good one. Those blue ones I like. Those live a long time, like
Okay.
that felt color, you know. And I like rainbow fish too. You know, always like those. They just started becoming popular now, but
Uh, yeah, I guess so. But I remember
I
coming
mean, in the
back.
scheme of things, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
talking 50 years.
Yeah.
There was a time for like 10 years that I didn't have any freshwater fish except for a goldfish. And
Well, I'll
then
tell you
I had
one of
I had saltwater fish.
one of the things that I've seen that'll make fish trend is exactly what we're on social media.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you the only way you would know about new fish was either if you were subscribed to one of the magazines
Yeah.
or you happen to come across a book um, where somebody had gone done some research and discovered new species of fish. So it was real slow for certain species to gain popularity. Now the problem is everything happens so fast
Right.
that whereas as fish would in the past, I remember would trend for years. Now it's like within a matter of a year, it's already no longer trendy, and they're moving on to the next species. Which in a way it's good, and it's good because it allows the hobby to continue to expand as far as species that become available in the market. But it also is kind of bad if you fall into that trend and you're constantly trying to keep up with the Jones. And instead
Yeah.
of picking the fish that you really enjoy and keeping those, you're always trying to chase that. Oh, what's the latest and greatest? So that's just kind of where I think as you mature as a hobbyist, you learn to slow down and appreciate what you really enjoy. And even though the new stuff could be cool and you look at it and go, yeah, that's neat, but as you become a more mature fish keeper, you start going, okay, well, I know those species prefer this type of water. Do I have the ability to provide that for them? They like prefer this temperature and all, and then that's when you start taking a step back and start looking and going, oh, okay, um, maybe I like to keep them, but I'm not set up at the moment. I'll keep them down the road. Or the other thing is, what I do is like, I really want them. They're super expensive because they're new now. I'll wait two or
Wait till
three
they
or
get
4 or 5 years
cheaper.
once they kind of inundate the market, and then I'll go, okay, now I'll get them. You know, and you let
It's
other
funny
people work
because
out all the kinks.
I'm a big book guy because, I started when it was all books, right?
Yeah,
So I have books that go that back into the 60s, and I have probably over 100 books, at least. And I was just trying to think where I have that cichlid book. Oop,
oh, the
of
one I was showing the other day.
no, I don't. I probably have that one too, but I was the one that I picked my first cichlid out with because
I think the
I have a, well, here it is right here.
oh, okay.
I dropped a whole bunch of them, but there was, see, this is the book that I was reading.
Oh, the
It,
Tanganyika cichlids.
so see this one right here. This is
Mm-hmm.
the one that I have in the tank over here. The exact one. I had three of them, but at the time I couldn't get that one, but I found some other ones. But there was these kind of books like this. They're so interesting because you can see different kinds right next to each other. And just cichlid books. I have so many of them. And some of them are gigantic books too. And it's really a good thing to have. What am I doing? Yeah. To arouse your interest in the thing, and then you can see what kind of fish can go with it. And like, okay, if I have to keep these at this parameter, what else can I put with them? That or is it going to have to be a species only tank? And then even if I think that I got it right, then I ask someone like Jeff, Kane, have you ever put anything with him? Because he's always got something stuffed with something else in the tank. And because I don't like to waste the whole tank on just one fish if I can help it.
Yeah,
And usually I try to find it out while they're in the quarantine tank because that's when they're new. That's the best place to do it because they don't mess around too much when they're in the quarantine tank. So um, when they're new, you can play around with it a little more then, and if they start messing around, then you can pull them apart. But anyway,
yeah.
I am so
Let,
hungry. Someone
let
keeps
me
complaining about
let
food.
me do this real quick because I want to acknowledge um, Dr. Anthony for the donation.
Oh, someone
He
gave a big donation, huh?
Yeah, he gave me $20 for the children's museum down there, um, well, here in Yuma. So yeah, that's definitely going to be put to use at the museum. Um, so
How's your
I
tank
know
coming along? Anyway,
it's going through the algae phase right now. Um, I figured that much because, especially because I'm used to dealing with aquariums where I use the organic potting soil and mix and all that stuff, and then cap it. And usually when I cap it, it kind of delays, or you don't have as much as a nutrient release into the aquarium. But because this one we use the nutrient substrates, the little pelletized stuff, and I didn't cap it. It's releasing that it's those excess nutrients are kind of like in the water column. So I all I need to do is increase. I thought I had. I'm used to the problem is I'm used to my aquariums and the way I set them up, and usually I'll be on top of them for about a month, where I'm doing like weekly water changes, and then after that I can taper off and just gradually pay attention. While this last one, and the reason I know this is because I went about a couple of weeks from the one in the Children's Museum, and when I went back, I had a lot of the diatom algae on the glass and a lot of hair algae uh, on the driftwood that's in there. So I know there's excess nutrients in the water column. So I did a big water change on it, um, removed as much of the hair algae as I could, and then obviously clean the glasses and all that stuff. So now instead of waiting an entire week between water changes, I'll probably go do another tomorrow. I should have gone today, but I just got off of doing graveyards and I went straight to sleep. And then I got up and I had already scheduled the live stream. So no, it's not near a big window. As a matter of fact, there's no big windows near it. It's just also I probably because I turn on the lights about half an hour before the museum actually opens, and I let them run until half an hour. So the museum's open for about I don't know 8 9 hours. And what I do in my aquariums, I run split times. I'll do 4 in the morning, have it off, and then 4 in the evening as when I know when I'm coming home, and that's all the light they get. Well, there it's constant 9 hours of light, and then with my shop lights, because I have them on chains, I've been able to figure out the distance that I can put them from the aquarium so that I get a balance. Well, I don't have that luxury with the children's museum because it's a light that's directly on top of the aquarium. So those are all part of the learning curve that you have to go through until you figure out. But I'm not going to turn off the light because the whole idea is that the kids get to enjoy the aquarium while the museum's open. And I come to find out it's also the employees' favorite thing to do prior and after the museum closes to go sit in there and stare at the aquarium for a little bit, either to decompress or whatever. But there, it's if there's an aquarium that's getting its mileage out of, it's that one there. I don't know how many people in the times that I've been there doing service and maintenance hear the comments of, wow, this is really neat and really cool. What I love is just the children being mesmerized and just standing there and talking to the fish because they like to talk to the fish. And so all of that has made it a really neat experience. It kind of takes me back to when I was a kid and how much I used to be, fascinated by aquariums. I didn't know anything really about them other than that there were fish and that was it. But that it got to the point where I'm at now, where this has really become a big part of my, I guess, of me, the hobby.
It's funny because I just was looking at an experiment because I did two tanks, same size, one with the nutrient rich soil like uh, the stratum
Yeah.
soil in one, and just sand on the bottom of the other one with the same kind of fish in it. Both have L333s in them, and a couple. One has some tetras in it, and the other one has some rainbow fish. And one tank, and both have the same kind of filters, hang on the back filters. One has hair algae and BBA all over it, and the other one has nothing, right? And they both have the same kind of lights, same kind of lights, the same amount of time, everything. So the only difference is the soil. And so now I'm working on trying to get rid of it. and of course the one with the soil is the one that has the problem.
Yeah.
And so I took everything, stripped it all, and added some plants, a lot more plants. But the problem is that the plecos the bristle nose plecos that I have in there. There's a couple of them there in there that are loving those plants that I just put in there, and they're eating them all as fast as I'm putting them in there. So those guys got to go because they're chewing on them as fast as I can put them in there, like they're French fries. So, but just putting those in has slowed it. So I would say that plants or capping it with sand is going to be the answer to that problem.
Yeah.
After you
It'll
get rid of it, you got to scrub it all off first, though. I think, but
I wouldn't I would
I don't think it's
I,
going to go away on its own. I don't think it's just going to
oh, you're talking about the hair
fall off.
algae?
Yeah, the algae. I think the algae is going to stay there as long as it's got a source of food, you know.
Yeah.
But and I think it's going to have a source of food as long as there's fish in there, you know. But I scrubbed it all off as much as I could, and and it didn't grow anymore because I put a lot of plants in it to eat some of that to offset it, and it helped a lot. But but the like I said, the plecos are eating it. You know, the plecos that eat that stuff. So they just got to go into another tank. That's all.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm learning the more that I do this is those nutrient rich substrates are great depending on what you're trying to do though. That's the whole thing. All of this stuff was designed for a purpose in mind. And I think really what those are designed for is if you're doing those heavily planted aquariums where they need a immediate access to all those nutrients, it's
Hmm.
great. It's great substrate for that. But for the average hobbyist like you or I,
Yeah.
the sand's going to work just as fine. It's just going to be slower, the
Right.
growth of the
And
plants.
you can control it. You know.
Exactly. And that's something that I've gradually learned over all this time is like I experimented with the aquariums where all I had was inert gravel and sand mixture, and granted it took it quite a bit of time for it to really get the nutrients it needed to explode the population of jungle fowl in there. But eventually, if you have fish in there, that waste will be produced. And if you don't gravel back the bottom, that waste is going to work itself to the roots of those
Yep.
plants. And that's when those plants will take off. But this takes time. If you have patience, you can accomplish a lot of things in this hobby. The problem is we're kind of in a situation where we like instant gratification. So that's why all these other products have been created because we don't want to wait. We want results now, tomorrow or tomorrow is too late. Uh but that's why I've tried it. I did some where I had some sort of nutrients in the substrate and see how that reacted. Yeah, you get plants will go much quicker, but I did notice that algae was an issue. Algae because you have all that excess nutrients. Now you want to combat that, well then you got to stuff that aquarium full of plants.
Right.
So unless you have a sponsorship from a plant supplier or you just have money to spend, then it's going to work out fine. But if you're like me or you or where we're kind of like balling on a budget, and you'll grab a few plants, and the idea is I'll propagate them as they grow out. I'll redistribute them, plant them, whatever it is. Then I wouldn't recommend using a lot of the rich nutrient or control it by localizing it, whether you put it in a media bag or something instead of putting the entire aquarium, so that the limited amount of plants you have are having access to those nutrients, and it's not the excess is not being released inside the aquarium, and then you're having to deal with hair algae, blackbeard algae, all the algae. But you don't learn that unless you've been doing this for a while and you experiment. You have to experiment. That's why I'm a big proponent of trying different things in your aquariums because there's no way you're going to learn if you're always doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
I see a lot of plants in your tanks. What's your favorite plant to propagate?
Green? No, the jungle val.
Jungle Val?
Jungle val. I think it's one of the most underrated plants, unless you're doing aquascapes. If you're doing aquascapes and that's your thing, um, jungle val is not what you want in there because one, it'll grow real quick, and number two is just going to be too tall and it's going to hide everything that you're trying to create in an aquascape. But if you just want tanks that look green, not green with green water, but you look like you have life in those aquariums, and you want to provide line of sight breaks and places where fish can get away, jungle val is probably the best plant because is that marijuana? Yeah, I got marijuana growing out of it's aquaponics.
Mhm.
It's one of those plants that you can grow in a dirted tank, in an enriched substrate aquarium, or just sand and gravel like I've done. Only difference is it's going to be how long you can get it to start sending out runners. Obviously, the more nutrients it has access to, the more it's going to be able to be able to propagate much quicker. But if you're just starting, if you're just learning, and the other thing is you don't need a lot of light to be able to grow jungle val. And if you let it do its thing, which I've learned to do in some of my aquariums, it kind of looks cool because it goes out of a lot of those. If you don't follow a lot of those guidelines when you're trying to create a display tank, it to me it kind of resembles more like a well, and that's even a funny thing to say because it's not natural. I've watched enough videos of the Amazon waterways and a lot of these places where they collect the fish, and even in talking to Dr. Anthony, there's no plants in the main waterways. The plants are going to be found towards the riverbanks or in the riparian areas. Once you get into the middle of these waterways, there ain't shit there but rocks, leaves, and debris.
They have,
So,
like you could see in this one here, I have some jungle val in there in the back of the tank. But most of my tanks, have all Amazon swords because I started with one, and as the one started throwing out, babies, I would put them everywhere else, and now I have them everywhere, and they're very good at sucking up the nutrients and growing very well. And for some reason, they stand up to the plecos good, you know. So that's why I like the Amazon swords better. They stand up. The Val does too. The Val is in my grow out tank for the plecos, for the bristle nose. But I'd say those are my two favorite.
yeah, and with jungle val, what I like about it is for especially as a beginner, it doesn't require a lot of a lot of fuss and messing with it. You leave it alone, and it'll do its thing. It'll grow, and I like it because it'll grow in any substrate. I
Yeah.
haven't found a substrate that it won't grow in. Now, I don't know if it's just because I happen to have the best water for it to grow or the temperature for it to grow, but for me, it's just one of those set it and forget it. The only thing every so often if I want to be able to see in the aquarium, I'll remove what's in the front panel, not because I don't like it. It's just so that I can see what's going on
You getting
inside the
any
aquarium.
kind of algae on it at all or stuff? Nothing.
No,
Yeah.
see,
Some
I've
of
got
my
to a
tanks
point,
I get it, and some of my tanks I don't.
and at first I was gonna say it's because of the flow, but a lot of my aquariums don't have flow in them,
Yeah.
so it's not an issue of flow. So it's just one of those things where I don't know. It's just they're balanced. I that's the only thing I think the only time you're not going to have an algae issue is once your aquariums get balanced. Once you achieve that balance point, um, you're going to stop having those issues. What happened?
No, I was just reading Steven's comment about the valve.
Oh, okay. No, the reason I was asking is because for some reason my chat stopped because I wanted to wrench somebody. Here, let me go over here.
I'm
Let's
reading it
talk.
off in the StreamYard chat, so it's harder to read. So
Yeah, no, I saw MC Aquatics come in, and
yeah,
he doesn't have a wrench. Where did he go?
he just passed up. The chat's moving too
Oh
fast.
wait, that's why. That's why I had it on
The
top.
chat's zooming by.
Oh, okay. No, 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 no. I don't want to. I don't want to block him. Put channel. No, no. How come it won't let me do the moderator from here? Oh, here we go. There we go. It was I had to scroll down for some reason.
Let
I
me
don't know
just
why.
check that tank over there while you're doing that.
He what?
I'm gonna just check the tank over here. 1 second. I'm just
Okay.
put Peplin's fish on floating.
Oh, that's weird. I wonder why it's not Oh, here we go. Perfect. I had lost a chat on my phone. And I lost all the messages, but it seems like it's back now. Let me go back to the star. Okay. Uh yeah, no, I think and then the other thing I like about Jungle Val and you know what Steve was saying, that Stephen P was saying is also true, but I like it because it kind of makes you seem like you know what you're doing once it starts growing out because it gets so full that people look at your people that are not necessarily your everyday hobbyists will look at it and go, "Oh, that looks pretty cool. How do you get so many plants in there?" And reality is, you don't do anything but let it grow. You're trying to keep it at bay at best. Once it gets going, what's the birdie's name?
Bubbles. I say
Hey,
hi.
Bubbles. It's like, who the hell's talking to me?
She don't care. She just was over there talking, so I figured I'd bring her over here.
Yeah, but as far as the plants, like I said, it's the very big. I haven't evolved from beginner plants, to be honest. I have your
Yeah,
basic
I have one
Luigia.
tank that has the fancy stuff in it, and it's like you said, it's a 20 long that has every fancy plant that I can think of, and including like the pink flamingos and all the expensive stuff, and it has like a little trickle of CO2 in it. I put in there every other day, maybe if I think of it, and it's beautiful, and but it's it just I have it just so you can see that it can be done. You know what I mean? But every other tank, I think it's like kind of a waste, to tell you the truth. But it looks beautiful, but all
Yeah,
I have is shrimp in it. But I like the other tanks just as much with the regular plants.
yeah.
Steven
It's
knows
just
how to do it. Steven P
oh, I
knows
know
how
that
to do it.
that one is. I've always joked around that I don't like the rainbow fish because of the body size, and I understand there's different types
Yeah.
of rainbow
I don't
fish.
like that body type either. I don't use that body type.
But I love most rainbow fish look really neat when they're juveniles to me
Yeah.
because they have more of that elongated, more even though they're still narrow at the front and narrow at the end. At least it's proportionate. What I don't like is when the head and the tail stay the same size and the rest of
Yeah.
the body just gets really, really tall. And I just that at that point I don't like the rainbow fish. But there's plenty of rainbow fish out there that still stay relatively small, and they don't do that. Like I always butcher this, but the Bozeman eye
Yeah.
rainbows,
Both. Yeah.
yeah, I like those about that size. Anything that's about that size or smaller, and then you have your other ones like the thread fins and the ones that don't look anything like the traditional rainbow fish that you see. I've got pseudomogills are no longer rainbow fish, but in that again, the smaller fish is where I kind of like to spend my time in
I'm
because
trying
I'm
to
a
see if I
hoarder.
can catch any on here for you.
Those are super red plecos you got in there.
Yeah, the super red plecos, but course, I got the stupid bird here in my hand.
Oh, what rainbows are those?
Wait a second, let me get this. So this is here rainbow. Oop, just flew away. These they're green rainbows, but I forget the name of them. Steven probably knows. But see how they don't have that weird shape?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're pretty nice. And the other ones are mascara bobs. See the ones with
Yeah.
the two like little smacks on them, and those that's a breeding trio right there. Um, but the other ones are that's a that's a that's a rainbow right there. That's a girl. That's a boy. Um, I'm trying to of course the discus is hiding in the back there somewhere. You can see this one here is just the regular. There's a super red right there. If you can, I can't tell what I'm aiming at. There's another one over there, and the discus is hiding in the back somewhere. Wish I could
Is
see
that
it. And
a
this
Madagascar lace plant or the
yep,
real
that's
broad one?
the
Oh, okay.
Madagascar lace right there. Another one right there, and this is one of those. What do you call it? The ones that start as a nut and grow there. Uh, this one here is one that's like a ribbon that grows up. You see that one, Nick? You see it
Yes.
right?
It's
But
a
yeah,
Paganican they call those.
I think so. Now, Keith is in there. I got all these plants from Keith,
Oh, okay.
but these you can see the
he
greens and
Keith
blues
just
on
asked
them.
me. He goes, "Ask Shady where you got the lace plant."
Yeah, all these plants I got in here, except for the Amazons, were I got from him. Everything. So except for the fish. The fish I got from. I got those at the swap meet. These were some. Someone was getting rid of these rainbows. They were some because see the blues and the greens. I forget what name they have. There's some Kerry or something like that name.
Okay.
I forget what the name is exactly. I think Steven knows what the name of it is,
Oh, I'm sure he does.
but if he's still here, he's,
So,
he
out
might.
of your 30 aquariums that you have,
Yep,
I know some of them are breeders.
yep.
Now, on
Most
in your breeders, are you also putting plants and all that stuff in them, or are you
yep.
going more with the
Yep.
traditional?
Every single one has substrate, and every single one has plants in them.
So
Every single,
when it gets time to trying to pull some of the fish out,
except for two. The two quarantine tanks don't have substrate in them, but they still have plants. They have floating pearlweed in them because I just in case Kamak. That's what it is. Kamamachus turquoise.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh no, he's asking that if that's the name you're looking for.
yeah. That's what it is.
I'm not even
Kamamachus.
going to chime in because I have no idea about.
That's what it is. It's Kamamachus. I know it's that's what.
Okay. Hey, John. Yeah, no, it's like I said, it's just
Why do you have a lot of tanks that don't have substrate in them?
who me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I only have one that doesn't have substrate. Well, that's not true. I have boxes, but my little where I'm trying to breed the bettas, I have them in the little shoe boxes. They
Yeah.
don't have substrate in there. They do have floating plants. I got hornwort there and a little bit of duckweed. But yeah, no, it's just and then the angelfish grow out that I have, it's a little 5 gallon. That one doesn't have substrate. Well, I guess now it does because it's moam on the bottom. I've got moam, but no, those are the only ones. Everything else has substrate. But because I'm the way I am treating breeding right now is I'm not necessarily breeding to resell. I'm breeding to have more fish. So I'll let them breed in that aquarium. I won't pull fry out. Whatever makes it today was the last class I will teach ever Congratulations, Dr. Anthony. Dr. Anthony retired today.
Wow, congratulations. Big day, if that's what you wanted.
34 years of being a professor.
Wow.
So when do you go to Oregon? I mean, Dr. Anthony, when does he actually move to Oregon? Well, I'm kind of jealous now. Because I used to have Dr. Anthony here not too far away. Now I'm gonna have to go to mid-June. Now I'm gonna have to go um to Oregon where he's going to go visit him. But the upside is there's still plenty of people out there that hopefully, one of the fish events that they have, I'll be able to meet. You got corals out there. I think a Misa is out there. Is it a Misa or no? Rachel is out there in that area in the Pacific Northwest. Obviously, you got everybody that's pretty much associated with Aquarium Co-op. You have Daniken Aquatics that's out there, so that's kind of cool. But
I'm surprised they don't do a lot more like shows down around your way.
It's the temperature. The temperature, because summertime is, well, no, for most people, winter. It would make sense if we were going to have any type of fish related events. Arizona, winter is the best time to do it when everybody else is snowed in.
Right.
It kind of gives the people an excuse to get away. And down here in the winter is like most spring for the rest of the country, because it'll be, right, maybe in the 60s, 50s during the day, which for just about the rest of you guys, that's like springtime.
Yeah, perfect. So do you keep like deep substrate, or
I
you
keep it
like
all.
thin sub? Huh?
I keep it all. I've tried every single way of doing it. That's why I have one that's bare bottom, because I wanted to see what the difference was.
I believe the thick substrate gives you a bigger buffer, for time. I tried to change the water in my tanks, every 10 to 2 weeks, and I checked the water quality at that time, and it still doesn't need to be changed at that time, for quality ways. I just do it for giving the fish a fresh bath. You know what I mean? And I think that they could go a good month without having to change the water if something happened, and I couldn't change the water with them set up the way they are. Except for the babies, of course. The baby tanks, they need to be done more.
Well, what I've kind of been learning as I go is that even though they're in a 5-gallon aquarium, especially the angel, this is all right now. My entire experience with breeding right now has been focused on angelfish. Is that even though it's a 5-gallon aquarium, I only have it filled like halfway up, because I'm finding that it makes it easier for them to access food versus me having it full all the way. Unless I set up either like Dean's fry rack, I found that works out for me, because there's enough water volume in there where I don't have to worry about doing a water change every day. And I can provide enough food in there throughout the course of the day. Now, granted, my survival rate is not the same as if I was focusing 100% on doing the Dean's setup, where you have the constant water changes, you're feeding 2 to 3 times a day. If you're trying to maximize the amount of fry, that would probably be the best way to do it. But then again, he's breeding for profit. where I'm just breeding for knowledge right now. At this point, it's all my breeding is for knowledge. Now, to be honest, also is I'm a lazy SOB. I don't
Mm.
like to be messing and fussing with stuff. So if I can get this stuff to be successfully without me having to interact a whole lot with it, even better for me. Because then I can still continue to enjoy my aquariums and not necessarily become where it's a task and I'm having to constantly be doing stuff when it's and that, I enjoy the water changes and all that stuff, but I enjoy watching absorbing my aquariums more than anything else that I do. The more I get away from that, I think the more where I feel it's starting to become like another chore. I feel it's going to start curving my enthusiasm. So my idea is to continue to make it where it's something that I truly enjoy. I can observe, periodically do a little bit of maintenance, and still have it all be okay. That's the ultimate goal for me. Um, but but yeah, it's just again, it's this is what I love about this hobby is that you never stop learning. You never, and if you're experimenting and you're trying new things out, forget it. It's never ending.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a new way to do something. And I mean, especially when we live in a world that there's always new tools to be made. Um, I came from a company. I mean, like my my background is I made machinery that built um, the uh, products that sold. Like so my business made all the machinery that made heart filters, stents, plastic devices for different medical companies like Boston Scientific, Bard, like so we made all the production equipment.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so not the we didn't design the equipment, design the product. I did when I worked at Boston Scientific for 15 years, but then when I started my own company, I worked for all the different companies making the machines that made the product. Like production lines, of equipment. So now they have all these equipment that are available to everybody to do their own things, like all these, you know, the stuff for, like you can design your own things, the plastic stuff and
Oh,
everything,
the 3D printers.
3D printers and everything. That was just coming out when when I was just almost just leaving the business, and we were just starting to print on carbon fiber and stuff like that and
Okay.
ceramics and to make ceramic things and which was pretty interesting. So that was the biggest thing new that there was. And but there was always something new coming, in all the years that I was doing stuff. I mean, I was in that business for 35 years, so it was a long time.
So, do you have an engineering background, or was just
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
was yep, engineering background. I have an automation background, so it was at the time it was robotics at the beginning, and then but now it's instead of robotics, they changed it to automation engineering, and but yep. Yeah, it was funny because when I started school, you had to like pick a focus, and I picked all different kinds of welding kind of stuff because I figured in every kind of uh, thing that you're putting together, something had to be joined. whether it was by glue or vibration or by welding or by laser or by something. It had to be joined, and so I figured that was a safe bet. You know what I mean, for business, and it was a good. There was always something that had to be done on every production line for that. So it was very good for my success, for for the for being an engineer through the years. So
So when you were going into this, was the idea like the car industry? Is because it seems like that was the industry that was using a lot of this technology, or at least that was people.
you say that because it's funny because my grandfather was a Ford dealer,
Mm,
and my grandfather wanted my family to stay away from the dealership business as far away as possible because he didn't want to. He started the him and his partner started the first Ford dealership on the East Coast, right? And he dealt with so much crap,
mm.
you know, that some of the years the cars were good, some of the years the cars were bad. So he just didn't want us dealing with any of those kind of issues, right? He wanted us to do our own thing. My sister went into bookkeeping, and she had her own bookkeeping business, and my and I decided to be an engineer, and we both had our own good businesses, and did fine. But he wanted us to stay away from that. Me, I did it because not mostly for that kind of business, but for the around where I live, it's all medical stuff. There's all medical industry around where I live, so that's what it was for.
Well, so back when you were going to school, the robotics industry, the robotics technology was already big in the medical fields.
Yeah, Wang was here.
Oh, okay.
So the two biggest robotic stuff was Wang and iRobot was another one. And I have three iRobots in my house because from from just doing part time stuff. You know what I mean? Working on those things, and but you know it is whatever once you got the knack to do something, to fix something or do something, you can do it on almost anything. I got this machine. I got the video game over there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes, please.
Well, don't forget to subscribe to Shady Grady's
Yeah,
channel.
mine too.
No, that's
I
the
don't
one
know
that
how many
matters.
people are left over here anyway that hasn't
Oh,
subscribed to me. I recognize everyone here anyway, pretty much. But it's so nice talking with everyone here too.
yeah. Well, uh, I don't know how much longer you want to go. I know Dee Dee and Roxy are
Yeah,
about. They've already started,
yeah,
and you know, maybe we can end it here so that we can allow some of these people to go over there and support them
yeah.
too. And but I know you and I constantly hang out on live streams and stuff like that. So
I hope you
eventually,
learned something. I don't know how much you got to learn more than you knew already, but
it's not, it's not a
the
look. There's always something to learn. Always,
yeah.
always, always. The day I'm going to quit learning
I mean
is the
about
day
me.
that.
I meant about me. I
Oh
just
no,
didn't.
about you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot that I didn't know about you, and that's what I kind of like to do with these live streams because I know you're a hobbyist. I mean, that's why you're hanging out in this community because you're a hobbyist. But I wanted to know who Michael is. You know,
Yeah.
what's the story behind Michael, and that's why I like doing these live streams. Uh, Again, I've always said it. This is all really a selfish reason that I do these live streams because I get to meet you guys on a one-on-one basis where I'm not
Well,
having to split time.
some of the things you should ask people more than about the fish stuff is, you know, some of my what else kind of things they like to do. Like me, I have my captain's license, right? I love
Oh,
to
you're a pilot.
do boat. I also have my a rotary license, for flying a helicopter, and I love to fish. I love to hunt. Um, I like doing remote control planes and things like that too, since I was a little kid, you know. And I was always into all the different kind of hobbies all my life, you know. And I bet you a lot of people that are doing this kind of stuff, you know, like that kind of stuff too, you know.
Yeah.
If
And
you're nerdy, you're nerdy, you know. That's about the way it is, you know.
well, we all have. I don't know anybody that just has one hobby.
Right.
So everybody
Yeah.
has something else, and yeah, that's usually something that I like to ask. Um, but especially when I haven't really met somebody that like this is the first. Well, no, it's not the first time because we've been in a couple of live streams together, but we never really had an opportunity to just focus on you. It's always been just conversation, general conversations. Not that this was any different, but at least here I was able to focus on you, a
Yeah,
little
you're
bit of
not
your
typing,
background.
you're talking, you know,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Garcia was just calling me on the phone. Hey, dude, as you can see, I'm on a live stream. That's why I couldn't take your call. I'm almost done though, and
Yeah.
so it's just I one of the upsides about doing this, like I said, always from the beginning, this has all been selfish reasons because it allows me to get to know some of these people that I get to interact almost on a daily basis in chats, and to finally be able to sit down and have a conversation that other any other circumstances probably wouldn't happen. um is why I do this. And and what I like about it too is that it cuts away on distance. I know you're on the East Coast, I'm pretty much on the West Coast. And the other circumstances, it would have been very hard for us to come together,
Of
and
course.
if it wasn't for doing something like this.
Well, I was thinking when you were saying why I you never saw me so much before the beginning of this year, and I was thinking about that, and I was saying because I was shifting a lot more of my time towards those other things that I was doing more than the fish things, and then all of a sudden I decided that I was going to start posting videos and a lot more than on fish stuff instead of flying planes or doing boats or doing this stuff, you know, or that stuff, you know.
So
And
do you own your own plane?
no, I don't own
Oh.
my own plane. I don't have my pilot license for a plane, fixed wing,
Oh, okay.
rotary license for a helicopter.
So do
And
you rent one and go flying,
yeah,
or
I rented and fly it. And it was always a dream of mine. I wanted to do it. I wanted to actually join the Air Force, and while I was going to engineering school, and my father had a bad experience when he was in the service. He was a prisoner of war in Korea, and he refused to let me. And I told him how bad I wanted to do that, and they instead of helping me go through college, they helped me go through getting that certification for that instead.
okay?
So, uh, so I was able to do that. But I had my fun when I got posted down in the South Beach for a year and a half for work, and that was a lot of fun having that my license for having a helicopter license down there. when I was when I was down, we used to chase the cigarette boats down there. But yeah, but I mean, I even like doing the remote control stuff too. You know, that's fun too. But
So are you into drones and stuff like that?
into what?
The drones?
No, the matter of fact, I'm not into. You know why I don't like drones is because it's too automatic. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm used to doing everything. You know, like I'm sitting in the driver's seat. You know, uh, not tell it to go that way and it goes that way, or it's it's kind of different, you know. You remember when I learned how to do remote control, I had to build the I had to build the set. I used to have back then. You had to go to Radio Shack and build the transmitter, and as a kit. And then once you built the kit, then you could learn how to fly. You know, it was pretty bad, you know, but. you know, I didn't grow up around. I grew up on a farm. I didn't have TV so much. We lived a different life. But I enjoyed my life. I wish my son would hop on a life like that, but he is adamant about being the exact opposite. You know, and he's got the chance to do everything that I do. I tried to. He was he was doing everything that I was doing until he hit about 13 years old, and then
Okay.
13, it's like he jumped off of a bridge into nowhere. And now I don't even know who he is or where he is anymore. So,
Oh, he'll come around.
but but yeah, hopefully he'll. It's sad to see him give up so many things, and
Well, he's
but
trying to discover himself.
yeah,
At this point,
maybe that's
it's
what it is.
based off of the influence of you, and now
Yeah,
he's trying to figure out for himself where exactly what is it that really he enjoys. Then it all comes around. I mean, think about you
yeah,
and your father and growing up as a teenager, uh, the differences of opinions and stuff like that. And then once you get older and you start having your own family, and then you go, oh, that's what he meant, and this is what he was
yeah. I
trying to
think
tell me.
the only thing I took from my father was maybe hunting and fishing, right? And my
Yeah,
grandfather, because that was like a family thing to do. And then, but he didn't do anything else except for work all the time. So, and who wants to do that, And so I tried to find the easiest way to make money so I didn't have to work, and so I could do whatever I wanted to and not have to work. But,
yeah,
and engineering seemed like the easiest way to do that at the time. So, but
yeah.
I
Well,
really
there
enjoyed this. So,
outside
I
before we
know
leave,
I could keep
before we
blabbing on forever.
yeah, I know. Before we leave, Outside In Aquatics is asking, have you ever seen aliens?
Uh, not, I mean, not really. I don't. The only one I could maybe claim what to be was maybe my ex-wife, but that's something that isn't real.
Yeah. Well,
But
Michael, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out
yeah,
of
I
your day
really
to hang
enjoyed
out
it. I
with me.
can't wait. Are you going to go to the Clash or any of these things that they're going to coming up? Any of these shows or anything?
I as of right now, no, I don't have. I might. The timing is probably a little bit weird right now because I didn't expect to have my grandkids this late in the year, but um, I was going to do the one in LA, and then June keeps insisting that I should go to the Findig up in Sacramento. But I don't know. Maybe this year. Um, no, I don't. I don't. I don't. Other than the one in Pomona, which is at the end of June, I really don't think I'm doing any events. Um, that's what a conversation I was having with Michael last night, as a matter of fact, where it's just gotten so expensive to travel as of late, and that it becomes basically like a little mini vacation. And the reason I say that is because I travel with my wife, so now instead of just paying for my way, it doubles all the expenses. And then a lot of the hotel rooms that I'm fine. Well, although I'm not a big hotel guy, I prefer Airbnbs.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that means if you stay at an Airbnb, now you're thinking about having to get transportation and doing all that other stuff. So it just
I'm thinking about when, because I got to go in for an operation soon for my leg, and if it comes out pretty good, then I have some friends that are in New Mexico way and Arizona way, and that moved from here out there to retire. And I know Max is out there too. Max Aquatics. He invited me to come by there, and if
I don't know
I
who that is. I have to check out his channel.
yeah, and I'm gonna have to see who's around where, and maybe I'll make us make. I was thinking about renting it's one of those small Winnebagos or something, and make like a cruise around. And I have family that are in South LA. I mean Southern California too. And I like to make a trip like that again. I've done it once already in my life, and I like to do it again once more before before I kick the bucket, And
Well, it's
and
funny that you say the whole Winnebago thing. I've been trying to convince my wife
oh,
that I want to
I
trade
want
in
and
my.
I want to see the Grand Canyon again too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever been there before, but oh, what a
No, I
trip!
haven't. I need to get out
Oh, you
there.
gotta go. What a trip that is! Oh, it's just amazing.
And the sad part, it's only about a 6 hour drive for me. It's not that
Oh,
far.
yeah. Are you out of your mind? 6 hour drive. That's nothing to go
Yeah, I
somewhere
know.
like that. And how much would it cost to stay? I mean, you know, I
Depending
went
on the
there.
time of the year, if you go in the summer, your lodging is going to be a lot cheaper because people don't want
Yeah,
to deal with the heat.
the only expensive place is the place at the bottom. The place at the bottom is really expensive, but it's worth it. Like if you guys got like a 25th anniversary or
Mm,
a 30th anniversary, take her there and stay there. You'll be able to stay married for another 25 years. That's how nice it is. But I mean, it's worth it. Let me tell you, that place is. I've been all over the world, and that place is one of the sights to see as good as anything,
mm.
and any time of year, to go. And and so much so that if if I can scratch up enough pennies, I'd go as my last trip if I could go anywhere. That's the
Okay.
place I'd want to go. So yeah, it's and you only live 6 hours away. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's about that long of a drive, but I really, really want to get one of those Class B, um, the vans
yeah.
because if I can get that, I'm traveling to all these events. I
Yeah,
can
I mean,
drive.
you can get those pretty reasonably priced too. I mean, used, you can get those for a price of a Tahoe or something,
Hmm.
and all depends on what your wife is like, if she's easygoing enough to sleep in something that's,
She's used to
happy,
be, but I've spoiled her.
huh? You spoiled
She
her.
used to be pretty
Well,
easy going. Now I spoiled her. She
yeah,
won't stay. She doesn't like roughing it anymore. Which it's fine. I mean, I get it. But no, just having the ability because even in a Winnipeg, I'll travel by myself. I don't care. I'll drive, pull into one of those truck stop gas stations, park there, sleep a couple of hours, get up. If I need to take a shower, I'll use their facilities. Rent out. But I'm more, I was in the military, so I'm used to doing unconventional things.
yeah. I used to
Where
use a skiing something like that. I had like a truck with a cab in the back, and I used to love. We used to ski 100 days a year, and that was my thing. That's above all. But uh, my leg screwed up, and I'll never be able to do that again. So not unless they figure out bionic legs or something.
well, the way
But
technology is going, that could be a possibility.
never know. But I may run out of time before that happens. It's got
Uh,
windows.
Not
So
really, because every year, think about how quickly technology advances.
yeah,
I
but
mean, every year it's something.
but
Look, they're trying to
after
put
60,
they're trying to put
what?
microchips in people's brains now.
Yeah, you know what they told me that they said, um, I'm just turned 61, and they said that last year that they wouldn't have done this operation that they're planning to do on my leg to someone that's uh, any older than 40 years old, and now they'll do it. They're going to do it to me, and I'm 61 years old. And last year they wouldn't have done it to someone that's any older than 40.
Hmm.
So you can see the difference in the technology
Yeah.
and that amount of time. Either that or they don't care about killing me. But
All right. Well, let's get out of here because I know people want to
okay,
go. They want to
yeah, I
go
gotta go
see
say hi to
Foxy.
Foxy and those guys. Apologize. Anyway, thanks you guys for coming and sticking around all this time. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks Jeff for coming. I didn't see you there.
Yeah, just kind of popped in at the last minute. But thank you everybody, and we'll see you guys soon. Tomorrow I got Carr coming on as a guest, so that should
Oh,
be
that's
interesting
good.
too.
Yeah, Kaz's a great guy. I like
Yep.
the way he
So
talks. You know, he's smooth.
real
I call him smooth talker. Like he's like that guy that talks on the radio at nighttime, before they play all the go to sleep music.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, you guys take care, and I really want to thank everybody that came out and supported us, and make sure you guys go subscribe to Shady Grady's channel.
Yes, please.